Diary, good morning. This is part two of the video which tells us how to mount an 11-speed cassette on a 10-speed wheel. So I've just been out for a 8 kilometre no less shakedown ride. Now, to me, a shakedown ride means a bit old school. It means that I went for a ride and nothing fell off. So that's exactly what happened. So in front of you is the Ribble 872 bicycle that's recently been bought. But on the back, you may or may not notice, is an old Easton, it's at least 10 years old, Easton 90 SLX, quite expensive rear wheel, and it's a 10-speed wheel. Now, what does that mean? So we're going to have to go to the other part of the cave. Here we go. Right, so again, this is part two of the video. So that is the wheel that came with the bicycle. It's a fairly cheapo Mavic wheel. And it's got an R8000, a Shimano R8000 native 11-speed cassette. And on the left, you will see another rear wheel, a expensive to me Shimano Dura Ace C24 10-speed rear wheel. And the point is that this distance, the distance from the bottom of that little nodule there up to the top of that bit there, is shorter on a 10-speed wheel. So when you mount the 11-speed cassette, so if you take this to cassette and bung it onto this mounting here, then onto the spline, you'll find out that the top gear, whilst you can assemble the whole thing together and screw it down, the top gear will just spin. It's just not connected to anything, and that's because this is slightly too short. So the cunning plan, as described in part one of the video, was to take the top gear off. The cunning plan was to the original cunning plan was to leave the top gear spinning, but just not use it. But there's a bit of a problem, and the problem is the following. If you do that, so if you were to mount the 11-speed cassette on the 10-speed hub, you'd find out that the end gear here would rub against the actual frame. And I've tried it with two different wheels, and it's always the same. So it doesn't work if you put the 11-speed cassette on the 10-speed hub, you mount it nice and tight, you'll find this top gear just spins round, or it's not connected to anything. So if you were to try and cycle on it, it would just spin, it wouldn't work. So it didn't work. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll take off the last top gear here. So I'll take this off and then screw down the top. And that doesn't work either. Because if you take off the top tooth here and close down this lock ring, you find the lock ring can't go down far enough on the 10-speed hub, and the whole cassette is just loose. So plan B, which has worked, and that's why I'm documenting it, is the following. What you're going to need an old cassette which comes apart. So I've got some monoblock cassettes that don't come apart, but this is a Dura Ace 10-speed cassette, and you're going to need to take one of these little washers off. Where are they? Well, actually, there's only one washer on this one, and I've already used it. But there's a little washer here, this little metal washer. There's at least one of these little metal washers on a cassette, which you can take off. And that little washer you're going to put on top of the 10 speed. So you're going to take the 11 speed off. Take this off. You're going to mount the first 10 speeds of your 11 speed cassette. You're going to take this thin washer. You're going to whack it on there, and then you're going to screw it down with a top cap that looks remarkably like that. So you'll have, eventually, going back to the actual finished product, a bicycle with a 10-speed rear wheel with an 11-speed cassette, but only 10 of the gears are mounted. The last gear is not mounted, so you can count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's only 10 gears. And I hope you can see that. Can we see that? There's a washer there, and then the lock ring, and that works. And the reason that the 11-speed doesn't work is that if you go to here, this is the 10-speed wheel. The actual this is 11-speed wheel. This is an example of a working wheel. This edge here, has to be proud of this lock ring. So if this edge isn't proud of this lock ring, the actual frame is touching the cassette. And so when you put the wheel in, it looks good until you put the wheel in, and then you find out if something's rubbing, and it's not the brakes, it's actually the frame rubbing against the side of this lock ring, because the actual frame needs to touch this point here. You get that? The frame has to touch this point. And if you put it on a 10-speed cassette, so a 10-speed hub, so this is the 10-speed hub, you'll find that this edge here, this silvery edge here, is actually underneath, it's below the level of the lock ring, and that's why it doesn't work. So, there we have it. I've been on my 8-kilometre test shakedown run, nothing fell off. I tested all the gears, and this repurposes the rear wheel, which these two wheels cost quite a lot of money, so it's worth doing. Now, the final addition to the story is the following. Shimano have announced, and I didn't realise they'd also announced it with the R8000 range, a special cassette. That's the 11 to 34 cassette, which I've just ordered. So the 11 to 34 cassette of either the Ultegra, which is now called R8000, or Shimano 105, which is R7000, apparently only the 11 to 34 cassette can support a 10-speed wheel natively. And with this remarkable cassette, they've engineered the new 11 to 34 cassette so that apparently, so if you look at this wheel, this is not an 11 to 34 cassette, but apparently on the latest 11 to 34 cassette, so this is Ultegra R8000, but if it had an 11 to 34 cassette, there's a washer sitting underneath this last top gear, and you can take that washer off. Then this cassette will be thinner, and it would then fit on a 10-speed hub. So part one of the solution, my close solution, if you like, is to put the 11-speed cassette minus one of the gears on a 10-speed rear wheel, and the part two of the solution might be to buy an 11 to 34 cassette, either 105 or Ultegra, and try and fit that onto your old 10-speed rear wheel. Either should work, and I have just ordered the 11-speed 11 to 34. But don't forget, an 11 to 34 is a very big ratio, and because of that, this cog on an 11 to 34 will be very large. So unless you've got a long arm here, the potential for your derailleur to smack into the side of the larger cogs is quite possible. So it may not work on all derailleur mechanisms. But anyway, the closed solution does work, and the only snafu, if you like, might be that this lock washer might come undone. So the lock washer is just on top of this spacer that I've stolen from another cassette, and of course it doesn't lock down quite as well. Anyway, I'm taking a tool with me, so if it happens on the road, I can do an emergency tighten, and until I'm confident of the fact that this solution does work. Okay, thanks for watching.